Hello from Organic Food Matters. Let me tell you something I wish someone had told me when my baby was about to start solids here in America. You can grow the first foods, not all of them, not perfectly, but enough to make a real difference. And the process is way more forgiving than those glossy parenting books make it sound. I started because I was tired of reading labels in the grocery aisle at 7 a.m. with a baby strapped to my chest, tired of wondering how long that jar of carrots had I've been sitting around. So I planted a few things, just a few: a sweet potato slip, a row of peas, a pot of basil. That tiny experiment turned into the most grounding part of my postpartum year. Here's the truth. In America, the standard first foods list is simple on purpose: sweet potato, peas, carrots, avocado, banana, butternut squash, apple, pear, green beans. Pediatricians recommend single ingredient purees to start, and every one of those can be grown in a backyard, a raised bed, or even a container on a porch. You do not need acres. You need sunlight, water, and a little patience. Sweet potatoes are the quiet hero for new parents. If you are in the South, from the Carolinas down to Texas and across to Southern California, you stick a slip in the ground after the last frost and let summer handle the rest. By early fall, you are digging up roots that taste like they were made for a baby. If you're in the Midwest or Northeast, grab a grow bag or a big black pot. The dark color holds heat and gives you a longer season. I have pulled 4 pounds off one plant on a deck in Pennsylvania. Bake it, mash it with a fork, add a splash of breast milk or formula if you want it thinner. That is it. No fillers, no added salt, no ingredients you cannot pronounce. Peas are the other one I tell every new parent to try. They are a cool weather crop, which means you plant them when the air still has a bite. In New England and the upper Midwest, that is late March or April. In the Pacific Northwest and parts of California, you can even do a fall crop. Kids lose their minds over pea pods. There's something about unzipping them that feels like a secret. You steam the peas for 2 or 3 minutes, blend and freeze in ice cube trays. Each cube is roughly an ounce. The flavor is nothing like frozen bagged peas. It is bright and sweet and tastes like spring showed up in your kitchen. Let us talk about the part that hooked me, the soil. I'm not a scientist, but after a season of gardening, you start to see it. Dirt is not just dirt. Healthy soil is alive. In America, we have been learning this again after decades of treating soil like a medium to hold up plants. When you add compost, shredded leaves, and aged manure, you feed a whole underground network. Fungi stretch out and connect with your plant roots. They trade nutrients. Your UT gets better access to minerals. Your spinach pulls in more iron. Your sweet potato stores more vitamin A. For a baby who is building a brain and a body from scratch, those differences matter. You can taste it too. A homegrown carrot is not the same as a store carrot. It is sweeter, more complex, more alive. Now, space. I know not everyone has a yard. I grew my first baby food on a fire escape in Chicago. 1 5-gallon bucket grew a cherry tomato plant. We cooked the tomatoes down, strained out the seeds and skins, and ended up with 24 tiny portions. A window box grew bush beans. A pot on the steps grew basil. If you have a patio in Phoenix, a balcony in Brooklyn, or a bit of lawn in Ohio, you have enough. First foods take such small amounts that one plant often covers you for weeks. Pests show up. They always do. But when you're feeding a 6-month-old, you start thinking differently about sprays. So you use the old tricks. Marigolds next to tomatoes confuse the bad bugs. Nasturtiums near squash act like a magnet for aphids, so the aphids leave your green beans alone. Let dill flower, and you will see ladybugs show up to handle the rest. In the southeast, a pot of mint can help with ants. Just keep it contained, because Mint will take over if you let it. It feels less like a battle and more like setting up a balanced little community. Your baby gets food that was never touched by anything harsh, and you get to watch a whole ecosystem work. Timing is where people get stuck, and I get it. America is huge. Planting dates in Maine are not planting dates in Arizona. The fix is simple. Look up your local extension office. Every state has one, and they are usually tied to a university. They publish free planting calendars that tell you exactly when to put seeds in the ground. Follow that, and you are ahead of most beginners. Then try succession planting. That just means you do not plant all your lettuce at once. You plant a small row, wait 2 weeks, plant another. You get a steady supply of tender leaves instead of one giant harvest that bolts in the heat. For baby food, that rhythm is perfect. You want fresh greens in June and July, not just a mountain of spinach in May. Water is worth mentioning because babies are sensitive to nitrates. If you are on a well in rural America, get your water tested. Most county health departments do it for free or very cheap. If nitrates are high, use filtered water for cooking baby food. If you are on city water, you are usually fine, though letting a pitcher sit out overnight lets chlorine evaporate and the flavor improves. Plants like it better too. Rain barrels are legal in most states now, and that water is gold for gardens. Harvest in the morning. Go out with your coffee while the baby naps. The plants are hydrated and the sugars are high. A carrot pulled at 7 a.m. in Oregon tastes like a different vegetable than one pulled at 5 p.m. Wash everything well. Even organic homegrown produce has soil on it. Peel root vegetables for the first few months. Cook hard foods until you can mash them with your tongue against the roof of your mouth. That is the texture test I used. Safety first, always. In America, pediatricians still recommend introducing one new food every 3 to 5 days. It is not exciting, but it lets you catch any reaction. I start thin, then go thicker, then move to soft finger foods around 8 or 9 months. A stick of roasted sweet potato or a floret of steamed broccoli makes a great first finger food. Stay with your baby while they eat. Cut grapes and cherry tomatoes into quarters when you get to that stage, even if you grew them yourself. Here's the part I did not expect. Growing first foods changed how I ate. When the garden is full, you cook from it. You roast the extra beets for your own lunch. You turn the extra zucchini into muffins. Your baby watches you eat the same foods, and that modeling matters. The American Academy of Pediatrics talks about family meals for a reason. A baby who sees you enjoy broccoli is more likely to try it. The garden makes that easy. You also start eating with the seasons without trying. In June, in New Jersey, you are on strawberries. In August, in Iowa, it is sweet corn. In October, in Vermont, it is butternut squash. In January, in Southern California, it is avocado. Your baby experiences food the way humans did for thousands of years, tied to the land and the weather. Will you grow everything? No. Some years the squash bugs win. One summer my tomatoes got blight. One spring the deer ate my bean seedlings. But every spoonful you do grow is a win. You cut down on packaging, you save a little money, you skip a stressful trip to the store, and you get 10 minutes outside with your hands in the dirt, which is medicine on the hard days. Start with 2 crops. Pick what your family already eats. If you are in North Carolina, try sweet potatoes and kale. In Arizona, try zucchini and cantaloupe. In Washington, try peas and blueberries. Learn those. Talk to the folks at your farmer's market. Gardeners in America are generous with seeds and advice. Next year, add 1 more. This is not about being perfect. It is about being connected. You grew a human, you can grow a pea. And when you feed your baby that first bite of something you planted, watered, and picked, you feel it in your chest. Pride, calm confidence. If this helped you, or even just made you curious, I would love to stay in touch. Subscribe to our newsletter from Organic Food Matters. We send seasonal planting guides for every region in America. Simple puree recipes that work, soil and nutrition deep dives without the jargon, and real stories from parents who are figuring it out one seed at a time.